Yay, we're recording. Hello, everyone. So today what we'll be doing is the travel training. I am Eric.
And I'm Elisa.
And we will be your wonderful chaperones for this endeavor. So what we're going to do is I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go to screen 2. We're going to present this. And hopefully it is sharing it. Have our wonderful Canva looking. All right. So moving on to, we will be there in less than a month. That's so exciting. So let's go into the next slide here. So I'll be doing the first couple and then Elisa will be doing the second half of this. So just gonna provide y'all some basic information, things to checklist, things that you have to kind of figure out going into this trip. Hence why we're doing this video. Things will start off May 15th on Sunday. So it's literally the day after commencement. We will be departing from San Antonio at 7:32 a.m. Here's the thing though, always the recommended thing, especially since this is a weekend flight, we want to arrive 2 hours before. So that means we really want to be in San Antonio Airport by 5:30 a.m., going through this whole process. So the game plan is, and we'll be detailing this in various emails, including this one that you'll be receiving as part with this video and the checklist, is that you want to make sure that you're here at Lot S, which is the parking lot outside Chaminade Tower, by 5 o'clock. Just because we're going to shuttle all of ourselves over there to the airport. That's the game plan. So what we'll do is arrive maybe even like around 4:50, ideally 4:45. We'll be here. We'll sign everybody in, get your luggage in the van, and then we'll drive ourselves over to the airport. I'll drop off the van in a parking lot over there in the garage, and then we'll migrate ourselves into the airport and get ready for this endeavor. As you notice here, we'll be arriving in an airport right next to Washington, D.C., Dole's International Airport at 11:42 a.m., which is an hour ahead, as you can see there, because we'll be in East Coast time. DC's on the East Coast is in Eastern, therefore we're ahead 1 hour from Central time. So the same with returning on Wednesday. So we'll be there for a couple of days, 3 nights. We'll return we'll be leaving Washington, D.C. at 5:09 p.m. and then arriving in San Antonio at 7:42 p.m., which then we're getting an hour back. So you lose an hour going over and you get an hour back coming back. One thing that we will know, we're doing this video literally the day after the TSA announced that they will not be enforcing masks on planes moving forward. So while they are now required by TSA, we're really going to recommend everyone in our group to still wear masks on the plane and bring at least 5 masks with you on this trip, ones that you're comfortable with. So be sure to start kind of figuring out which ones that you want to bring with you, because some places that we may be going to on this trip may require masks, especially in DC, where it is right now currently a hotspot of sorts. So we want to be very aware of that some places, some museums of sorts, restaurants may be requiring masks. Next slide. Big part here, of course, it's not going away, COVID. Pre-departure testing. The travel agency that we're partnered with is requiring that all of us get tested prior to departure. So right here it says participants must schedule a COVID-19 PCR test within 3 days of the trip or an antigen test within 2 days of trip departure. You are to share those results with either myself or Elisa. Anyone who gets a positive test result will not be able to participate in the program, unfortunately. In this circumstance, you can't take a second test because the first one already was showing that it was not accepted. Moving on to this though, in the event that you have you're exposed to someone who may have had it or who does have it confirmed within the last 10 days before the program starts, I would recommend, well, it's not even recommended, it's really required, you let either myself and Elisa know as soon as possible of you finding out about this so we can figure out the next steps, whether you would still be able to attend the DC trip or not. One thing that Elisa and I, we really are going to be pushing everyone to do is definitely scheduling a week in advance with Curative, which is the testing site that's been here on campus really for I think over a year now, over there by the AT&T Information Technology Building. That's one place to go. The other option is CVS and Walgreens. Those are definitely a lot more rapid and curative. And you can schedule those also at least a week in advance. Please do that because given that waves of COVID and different strains and things that are going on, you definitely want to do that a week in advance. Please do not do that the day before. We'll try to remind y'all at least a week and a half beforehand, like please schedule if you haven't scheduled yet. So that's one thing I want to emphasize to all of you. Next slide. So we're now going into a very important discussion about luggage, the reason I'm covering this is because there's certain requirements when it comes to luggage for this trip. So the reason I asked this is for anyone who maybe hasn't flown before, this is a good refresher to understand what the differences are. So what is the difference between a carry-on and check luggage? Those are two very different types of luggage. So going into the next slide here, it's really the size of the bag. And it's cool that Lisa was able to find a little video that kind of shows the check luggage going into the plane there. But basically think of the carry-on as literally a bag you are carrying onto the plane and you're putting into the overhead bin. That is basically what the carry-on is. So always think about, okay, it's got to be kind of smallish to the point where it's fitting inside the overhead bin that's going over your head, basically, or somewhere near you. Check luggage is something that is a luggage that is much larger and needs to be checked with the airline at the desk when we're coming into the airport, because therefore it's going into the bottom of the plane. It's a much bigger piece of luggage. To the next slide. As you can see here, you can see the dimensions of a typical carry-on. As you see there, it's 22 inches tall, 14 inches wide, and the depth is 9 inches. Definitely, given that we're only going to be, there for 3 nights, it is very possible you could fit everything into a carry-on. That's what I'll be doing. I know Lisa will be doing the same thing, and I highly recommend y'all do that as well. One thing that you can try to do is try to roll clothes. That's some way that can make it a little more compact. But also, as Lisa will detail later on in the slides, is how many shirts you should bring, how many changes of clothes you should bring, and she'll be breaking that down with you. And it's very realistic that you can fit that all into a carry-on. Another thing that you're allowed to bring on this flight is a personal item, which is, large purse, of sorts. Think of something that can be also collapsible or can kind of be compressed a little bit, because the personal item is something that can go under the seat in front of you. And so that's why you want to keep in mind that the personal item is something that can kind of be a little squished a little bit and kind of be malleable a bit to an extent and can kind of go under the seat. As you can see there's like a purse, a tote bag. People sometimes use tote bags. It's a nicer tote there that I see there, that green and white one, the Patagonia one. That's also another example of a personal item that you can see. All of those bags, they can kind of be moved a little bit. They can kind of be squished a little bit. That's important, especially when thinking of a personal item, something that can fit under the seat. As you can see there, the overhead space, that's where the carry-on will go, is in that overhead space. It needs to be at that certain diameters and measurements for it to fit in there. As you can see here, United Airlines and how they have it broken down. Personal item cannot exceed 9 inches in length, 10 inches in width, and 17 inches in height. As you can see there, it's definitely smaller than the carry-on. The carry-on, 9 inches, also in the length, 14 in width, and 22 in height. So you can tell it's larger, the carry-on. And so that's one thing to keep in mind. The reason I say all this, preface going into this point, is for this flight, what is part of the travel package that we have with the travel agency and with the airline United is you are allowed to bring 1 carry-on and 1 personal item. Hence why we're covering the carry-on and personal item going into this. Also, if you decide to bring check luggage, let's say you're like, hey, I got to bring so much clothes with me. And it's like, you don't have to. Our recommendation is you don't need to bring, 2 weeks worth of clothes with you, or even a week. It's really 4 days at most. If you decide to bring something that is larger, that will be a check luggage. That is $35 one way and $35 returning. So really you're looking at $70 to bring a check luggage. And that is not something that we as a program are covering. We are not covering that cost. That cost will be your responsibility to pay for that. So another thing to keep in mind with a personal item, that is something that you can use as a backpack. So the backpack you have that you use on campus, that is probably one that could fit under the under your seat. So now we will transition over to Elisa.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go over some things of what is not allowed on a flight and some recommendations. So TSA is the Transportation Security Administration, and they have some restrictions for packing liquids, gels, and aerosols. So these can include things like dry shampoo, hairspray, things like contact solution or hair gel. So these do have to be in containers that are 3.4 ounces or less. So let's say you have a container that's like 6 ounces, but you only have like 2 ounces in there. Even though you know that there's only 2 ounces, TSA is going to go by whatever it says on the container, not by what you think is in the container. So just be sure that everything is in the correctly labeled container. We really recommend going to Dollar Tree and getting those correct labeled containers that are small for travel size. Definitely getting those clear ones are going to be recommended. Also, putting them inside of Ziploc bags is going to be very helpful to prevent spills. Also, TSA does not allow customers traveling to or within the US to pack powder-based substances. So for example, let's say you use baby powder. So let's say that can't be any greater than 12 fluid ounces in your carry-on. If you do have any like medically prescribed powders like baby formula, or human remains, but you all shouldn't have any, or duty-free powders, those have to be in a tamper-evident bag. But we shouldn't be having any powders. I would just recommend don't bring powder, just nothing that's gonna really cause you to get distressed. Just be sure to follow the 3.4 ounces for any fluids and gels. If you have any questions, we're here to help you. And next slide. Okay, so we recommend purchasing travel size containers. We do recommend getting them at Dollar Tree. This is where they are the cheapest. At Walmart, you're gonna find them for maybe like $5 or $6. When at Dollar Tree, they're about $1.25, and it comes in a 3-piece set. If you do look at this link, it is gonna say out of stock, but it's out of stock for the online bulk order. But if you go in store, they do have them in the like cosmetic section at Dollar Tree under like the toiletries area. Dollar Tree also has toiletries that are travel size, like deodorant, shampoo, conditioner, bar soaps. Also be sure that you put your toiletries in Ziploc bags or plastic baggies. This is just to prevent some spillage, just because we are going to be traveling in a plane and there is going to be pressure. So sometimes the products can explode, or there can be some spillage, or even though you tighten your products as tight as possible, they can still open. You could also try getting some saran wrap, so the plastic wrap, and opening your bottle, putting it at the base of your bottle and then tightening it. So that can help as well in case you don't have plastic baggies. Or you can use like a little Walmart bag, tear the Walmart bag and do that as well. I also recommend doing this with perfumes, creams, and contact solution and all liquids. I'm saying this from experience because I've had spillage before, and I don't want you all to show up in DC with ruined clothes or ruined products. So just be sure you correctly store your products, any kinds of colognes, anything you're bringing with you all, in Ziploc bags or Walmart bags if you don't have any plastic baggies. And you all are responsible for your own personal medication. If you all have any, please be sure you bring it with your name labeled on it. If anything were to happen to you, we do want to know what you are consuming. Next slide. So here is a packing guide. I'm going to go through some of it with you all. I'm also going to be sure to send you all a nice little Canva outline checklist so you all can go through it as you all are packing. So first of all, please refrain from bringing large electronic devices such as laptops. We are not going to be responsible for any damaged or lost items. And honestly, you're not really going to have time to use them because we are going to have very packed days. We do recommend packing a trio SSS shirt. We have our yellow ones and blue ones. If you do not have one, please ask one of us and we can provide it for you. You all are responsible for bringing your own personal hygiene items, whether it be a hairbrush, deodorant, sprays, anything, whatever it is that you use. It has to be under 3.4 fluid ounces. Toothbrush, toothpaste, floss, mouthwash, base soap, shower products. The hotel may provide some of these, but if you do want to use your own products, like if you have sensitive skin or you have your own body, like personal preferences, please be sure to bring your own. If you do wear glasses or contacts, be sure to bring your solution, your case, and your contacts with you. Feminine products, you all can experience things at any time of the month, so please be sure to bring this. Earplugs and or chewing gum. So if you all haven't flown before, or if you have, you all may know that sometimes your ears may pop, or you might have a lot of pressure in your ears because of the high altitude. So sometimes bringing earplugs might help, or even chewing gum. Um, just recommended something in case you all want to prevent that from happening. We do recommend 2 pairs of shoes that are comfortable for walking. Just try on your shoes, you know what's comfortable for you, and be sure to pack those. I would recommend wearing the most bulky ones so that way you have more room inside of your suitcase for other items. Do bring 4 pairs of socks, 4 pairs of undergarments, underwear, as well as women. If you all wear bras, if you have like a sports bra, regular bra, be sure to bring pairs of those. 4 tops, including blouses, t-shirts, button-ups. Next slide. And then I'll go ahead and send you all the packing list with everything else that's outlined for you all. So this is going to be day 1. You all will receive all of this. I'm not going to go through it, but you all will have this. We are going to provide this to you all as well, so you all will have it, just so you all are aware of what's to expect and where we will be going. And that's pretty much it. As a reminder, do arrive on campus at 5 a.m. Please be courteous to all of us as we are trying to be on time. So please be punctual. And that's pretty much it for day 1. Day 2, we are going to be starting off at 7 a.m. with breakfast. We do recommend all of y'all to have breakfast. This is the only time we're going to be having breakfast. So I know it's pretty early, but please try to wake up on time to have that breakfast. As you can see, we won't be having lunch until around 10:45, which may seem like a very short time from 7 a.m., but we are going to be doing a lot of walking. So we want you all to stay nourished, just to be sure you all prevent your headaches and anything like that from happening. So we recommend using a buddy system. So whoever your roomie is, be sure to nudge your roomie and head on to breakfast together. Next slide. And day 3. So day 3, again, early breakfast. We're gonna have some sightseeing going on. Around 8:30 a.m., we're gonna have quite a bit of tours going on. Like I said, there's gonna be a very packed days, so no time for using a lot of those electronics. It's gonna be a lot of sightseeing, so please be sure to bring like cell phone block chargers, and I'll go ahead and put all of this in a packing list for you all. And next slide. And then day 4, this is our last day there. So we are going to go ahead and have breakfast again, do a few more tours. At this last tour, I believe, is where we are going to have the like a memorial. So at this one is where we are going to ask you all to have like a nice outfit, like your Sunday's best, which I'll include in a packing list for you all. So that's pretty much it. We're going to be departing around 5:09 a.m. So we'll be heading to the airport around 3:09 p.m. So y'all will have all your luggage with you in the bus. And then from there, we will be returning to San Antonio at 7:42 and arriving on campus around, I would say around 8:30 or 9, just depending on traffic, and collecting our luggage. And that is it. So thank you all for sticking with us. We are going to be sending you all a quiz just to be sure that you all grasped all the information and are fully aware of all of the expectations. We're also going to be sending you all the packing list and any other updated information. Please keep in mind that we are following the government protocols related to COVID, as well as the program that we're working with for the travel agency as we are traveling to Washington, D.C., which does have some high COVID rates, but we are going to try our best to keep you all safe. And we're traveling together as a family, so we're all in this together. But thank you all so much for sticking with us, and I'll pass it over to Eric.
Thank you, Elisa. And like she mentioned, you'll be receiving this video, a quiz, a subsequent quiz you'll need to complete, and also the completed packing list, things to keep in mind to bring with you for this trip. So we can't wait to do something that's so special that we as a program have never been able to do. It's a privilege for all of us to take part in something this big, this special, and we can't wait. And so it'll be here before we know it, really, in the next like 3.5 weeks. So thank you all so much, and we will talk to you soon and see you soon. Bye. Stop share.